What if I told you that you can find all the mysteries of the universe without leaving your front door? Well, there's a way. No Man's Sky is an upcoming science fiction survival video game based in a generated deterministic open universe where the possibilities are indeed endless. Players have the freedom to explore, survive, combat, and trade on a number of different planets while encountering fascinating creatures. Hi, I'm Adrian, and here on the Leaderboard we're going to fly you through 107 facts about No Man's Sky. So grab your helmets, rev up those space engines, tap open the atlas, and let's get started. Fact number 1. The development onset for No Man's Sky arose from Hello Games co-founder Sean Murray sometime during the development of Joe Danger, which he compared to a midlife crisis. Number 2. Murray, a former developer at Criterion Games for the Burnout series, worried the studio would be falling into a rut of producing sequel after sequel, as was the case at Criterion. Murray realized they had an opportunity to create something completely new. When Hello Games had problems with an American publisher, Murray realized that they had an opportunity to create a completely new title based on a concept he had since he was a child. When he had aspirations of being an astronaut, he envisioned himself as being the first human to step onto an alien planet. Number 3. Murray was also inspired by science fiction works by Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and Robert Heinlein, as well as the covers which were published during the 1970s and 1980s. These were typically done by freelance artists and bore little connection to the stories themselves, but made for visually alluring scenes. Number 4. The game was an attention-getting concept that the studio had since inception. Dave Ream, the creative director, based the skyscrapers on standard designs and made smaller, minimalistic architectural schemes, establishing the artistic direction for the studio. This proverbial game, Project Skyscraper, was kept into consideration as the studio began to expand and acquire the necessary finances to pursue other titles besides Joe Danger. Number 5. With the success of Joe Danger and its sequels, Murray was able to spend a few days each week developing the core engine of No Man's Sky for over a year. He did this undisclosed from the rest of the team. Once the engine was completed, Murray brought in a small 4-person group to work on the game directly, while Joe Danger 2 was being developed by the rest of the company. They worked in a spare room, lining the walls with science fiction imagery as a tool for inspiration. Number 6. You know what they say, secrets are no fun. The work for No Man's Sky was kept in secrecy from the rest of the development team, leading to some tension within the office. However, Murray had done this after seeing how small exploratory groups did not work well at Criterion Games, so really, what were you expecting? Number 7. No Man's Sky represents a vision of a broad, attention-getting game that Hello Games had in place since the formation of the company, set aside while they secure their financial well-being through other, less risky titles such as the Joe Danger series. Number 8. Hello Games was founded in February 2008 by Sean Murray and Grant Duncan, who previously worked at gaming companies like EA and Kuju. Number 9. No Man's Sky was in the back of Murray's head from the very beginning. Back in 2012, Murray had an idea for the game, saying, "We were talking about things you wanted to be when you were a kid. There's so many other things like a fireman, or a cowboy, or an astronaut, or an archaeologist, or a stuntman." In the end, they expanded on the astronaut concept. Number 10. Murray wanted to make the games he always dreamed of as a kid. He felt that if you wanted an FPS or MMO, the player was well catered. However, there weren't enough video games focused on exploration and discovery. Number 11. Murray stated that unlike most traditional games, where completion of the fixed number of levels and other assets can be treated as an assembly line and schedules projected from that, the interconnectivity of all the various systems within No Man's Sky requires all methods to work together to make the game successful. He'd only feel comfortable on assigning a release date once these tasks are refined and completed. Number 12. Hello Games had originally planned to use a 32-bit seed number, which would have generated around 4.3 billion worlds, but decided to use the 64-bit number to demonstrate the scalability of their game. This was partially in response to online forum comments that doubted that Hello Games could deliver a game of such large size. Number 13. Hello Games didn't start out wanting to make a procedural game. According to Murray, they wanted to make a great sci-fi game where players would visit new planets. This premise actually necessitated the new technology brought on by No Man's Sky. Number 14. Unlike most indie dev studios that use another game engine like Unreal, Hello Games had to make their own game engine for No Man's Sky. It wasn't uncommon, as the studio had to make a new engine for Joe Danger, their previous game. Murray says he didn't really mind writing new engines, but for No Man's Sky, it was necessary. Number 15. Murray looked up to other game devs and studios while working for other companies. He said that id Software and Notch, the creator of Minecraft, were big inspirations for him. Number 16. The art direction for the game was a little different from AAA titles. In No Man's Sky, the game is generated by a super formula, yet Hello Games still wanted a vibrant look that that evoked a feeling of the 1960s sci-fi. For example, artists based the creatures on real-life animals for modeling purposes. Then, as part of the system, only pieces of the animal would make it into the final model and would be altered slightly. Number 17. 65 Days of Static. The band which composed No Man's Sky did more than just record the soundtrack for the game. Rather, they captured the size of the game. 65 was lucky enough to get full creative control with the music, and the band took advantage of it. Number 18. 65 picked up on the procedural nature of the game by programming synth modules from scratch. They were able to use a system of custom synths with free looping software and other programs so the music matched the game's size in terms of procedural processes. Number 19. Murray described his time working with video games as a very personal experience. He shows his passion for games and says that as long as he's working on fun, engaging concepts that he likes, then he's happy. He looks back on previous projects like Joe Danger and Burnout fondly. Number 20. The player character can collect information on planets, life forms, and other features to upload onto the Atlas, a galactic database as depicted in the game's cover artwork. This information can be paid for in units, the in-game currency. Number 21. The player's ability to explore planets is only limited by the range of the hyperspace jump engines on their current spacecraft and how much fuel the craft can carry. Number 22. Numerous features will be available in regards to space travel, such as engaging in space combat with various ships and fleets. Number 23. After the success of Joe Danger, a game made by only 4 people, Hello Games more than doubled their staff for Project Skyscraper, picking up over 10 people. Number 24. No Man's Sky gameplay is built on 4 pillars: exploration, survival, combat, and training. Players are free to perform within the entirety of a procedurally generated deterministic open universe, which includes over 18 quintillion planets. Number 25. Core to No Man's Sky is that its virtual universe, including the stars, planets, lifeforms, ecosystems, and the behavior of the space-bound factions, were all created through procedural generation using deterministic algorithms and random number generators. Number 26. Murray was concerned with describing too much about the game and feared that even teasing about the title would lead to misconceptions about the scope and nature of the digital world. Ultimately, Murray was encouraged by Jeff Keighley to premiere the title at the 2013 VGX Awards. Number 27. A flood wiped out most of their Guildford office and equipment on Christmas Eve 2013, but they were able to recover the work they already finished and resume development shortly thereafter. Number 28. Murray later acknowledged that he'd been tempted to cancel No Man's Sky after the flood, but the incident helped re-solidify the Hello Games team, as prior to the flood, everyone was still split on those working on No Man's Sky and those continuing the Joe Danger series. Everyone in the company came together to help rebuild their office and computer equipment, giving new vigor to the project. Number 29. The generation system is based primarily on providing a single seed number to the deterministic engine, which would create all of the features of the universe exactly the same way every time this process is run. This is achieved by the repeatability of pseudo-random number generators. Number 30. The planet terrain generation code is only 1400 lines of code. As described by Murray, the code was tweaked to make sure the planets generated were visually interesting but navigable terrain, as some early builds would produce wildly stunning planets that were impossible to traverse. Number 31. The total code size for the entire game, as of February 2016, was around 600,000 lines of code. The entire game takes up only 6 GB on a Blu-ray disc, the bulk being mostly audio files. Number 32. Some facets of realism have been conceded in favor of promoting better gameplay. The planetary generator system will not generate any gas giants, as Murray wants every planet in the game to be explorable. Number 33. Unlike most planets containing an atmosphere that's visibly more dense the closer it is to the surface, planetary atmospheres in No Man's Sky are reversed to provide a more traumatic transition when a player is taking off or initiating a landing on planet. Number 34. Other elements of the procedural generation system were made to break the realism that was previously built into the engine, resulting in more alien-looking planets and features with potential outcomes of the system. This also introduced chemical elements that would enable green-tinted atmospheres and allowed moons to orbit much closer than the laws of gravity would allow, making for impressive backdrops. Number 35. No Man's Sky features a soundtrack by British post-rock band 65 Days of Static, as well as procedurally generated ambient music composed by Paul Weir. While 65 developed the music, Weir advised the group on the audio logic of the game, resulting in chopped-up sounds rearranged to create the new compositions. Number 36. The game uses a generative music system called Pulse, developed by Weir, using a large library of loops, textures, and melodies created by 65 to randomly create music to accompany the gameplay. This system allows musical pieces to react to the changeable terrain and become more or less menacing depending on whether a character is in danger. Number 37. 65 Days of Static became involved in the project when Hello Games, preparing their debut trailer, contacted 65 about using their song Debutante. The company sent along some of the concept art, which the band thought was really impressive, to which they jumped on the project. Number 38. 65 had been interested in doing a video game soundtrack following their album, Wild Light. They felt the same concepts could be applied to video games, which are traditionally non-linear experiences. Number 39. Initially, Hello Hello Games asked 65 to create numerous songs in their band's style, with very little additional direction. After spending time to craft a number of songs, 65 brought their songs to Weir, who started to bring in parts of it into the procedural soundtrack. Knowing which parts were used as focus by Weir, 65 went and re-recorded some sections to provide Weir with more song segments to incorporate into the system. Number 40. Weir developed an audio procedural generating system called VokeAlien that allowed him to create a system of animal calls that could readily be altered by adjusting a number of parameters. Number 41. No Man's Sky will be the first video game soundtrack 65 Days of Static's ever worked on. Joe Shrewsbury, the band's synth and guitar player, explained that he felt their music was always very cinematic, and that creating the soundtrack for a video game just seemed to fit the bill for them. Number 42. So what did 65 do before No Man's Sky? Their biggest project before the game was making an alternative soundtrack to the 1970s sci-fi film Silent Running. Shrewsbury said that that type of work fed into working on No Man's Sky. Number 43. While writing for the game's music, 65 was not based where Hello Games was located. As a result, they didn't see or play a lot of the game. Number 44. 65 might continue to have an ongoing relationship with No Man's Sky and Hello Games. In an interview, Shrewsbury hinted, "I think we will add more music to the game." And of course, those compositions continue to evolve in the live arena. Number 45. 65 takes No Man's Sky's music with them on tour. They've already played some songs from the soundtrack, such as Supermoon and Asimov. Number 46. Hello Games had been in legal negotiations with Sky PLC over trademark on the word Sky, a trademark Sky had previously defended against Microsoft's choice of SkyDrive. The issue was ultimately settled in June 2016, allowing Hello Games to continue to use the name. Number 47. A few weeks before the game's launch, No Man's Sky was claimed to be using a super formula based on work done by Dr. Johan Gielis in 2003, and subsequently patented by Gielis under the Dutch company Genecap, which Gielis founded and serves as Chief Research Officer. Murray had mentioned use of the super formula in an interview with The New Yorker during development. Number 48. Genecap anticipates developing a software tool using the super formula for their own product in video game development, which Hello Games would be infringing on if they had used the super formula in their own project. Genecap said they don't want to stop the launch of No Man's Sky, as they consider the game to be very impressive. They expressed their interest to talk more with Hello Games to exchange knowledge with them, but have said if the formula is used, we'll need to have a talk. Number 49. So we all know that 18 quintillion is like a lot, but honestly this may be too much. According to Hello Games, about 99.9% of the planets will never be discovered. Number 50. If you want to make it through to the center of the universe in No Man's Sky, then be prepared to put everything on the line. In this dangerous and immersive world, there is permadeath. This means if you lose your ship, it's gone for good. Number 51. Sean Murray said that multiplayer is not the main focus of No Man's Sky, contrary to a lot of popular games today. According to Murray, if you want an MMO, go and play one. What we want is to have the player have a sense of being in the world with other players. So what will reasonably happen is that the player will come upon a planet and find someone has been there before you. Number 52. In fact, the world of No Man's Sky is so expansive, you might not even see another person in your day-to-day travels. According to Murray, the chances of meeting another person and being in the same place at the same time is pretty rare. Number 53. The generation system in the game can create a variety of planet ecosystems, including differing rotational periods, the end effects of natural erosion, and behavioral cycles for the creatures. The amount of life on planets will be factored based on their distance from their local sun. This means that planets far outside the habitable zone will typically be barren of life. Number 54. The developers aimed for a 90-10 rule. About 90% of the planets will be uninhabitable, and of the 10% that do support life, 90% of those will only be mundane life forms, making the planets that thrive with a vivid ecosystem rare within the virtual universe. Number 55. When the player first starts No Man's Sky, they'll be placed on a planet at the edge of the galaxy, from which point they're free to do whatever they want. The game does have an explicit goal, but does encourage players to attempt to reach the center of the galaxy through its lore. Number 56. Although Sean Murray stated that players would be able to see each other on the same planet, with a matchmaking system akin to Journey, two streamers tested it out and couldn't see each other, even though they were in the same place at the same time. Number 57. Through the Atlas, players are credited by name for being the first to discover a planet and other types of information. To gain credit, players must seek out beacons on the planet to access the Atlas and upload their discoveries. Number 58. Players can name their discoveries within limits set by a profanity filter and include notes about their discoveries, such as noting a planet's toxicity or whether or not it's a radioactive environment. Number 59. Players will be able to visit other planets that have been discovered and uploaded to the Atlas, presuming their spacecraft has sufficient fuel and range to reach those planets. On those already explored planets, players will still be credited with in-game currency for documenting the planet and its features to the atlas, but they won't be able to rename the details that the discovering player already finished. Number 60. The whole universe of No Man's Sky is not on a hard disk. Instead, the world is generated by your system at the point you visit it. Leave, and it's all thrown away. But if you return, it's generated again exactly as it was. This also means the game will be completely playable offline. Number 61. Players aren't the only ones exploring the world of No Man's Sky. Hello Games sent out bots to explore the void of space and send back GIFs of planets they find, kind of like NASA probes. Number 62. There are no cutscenes in No Man's Sky. There's only you, your ship, and the occasional passerby as you explore the universe with a single goal: explore. No Man's Sky sets you off on a journey to the center of the universe and gives the player all the freedom to explore their own way and to tell their own story. Number 63. Taking resources from a planet or harming the lifeforms on it will cause the player to gain a wanted level, similar to that of Grand Theft Auto. This attracts the attention of self-replicating robot-like sentinels that patrol the planets. Low wanted levels may cause small drones to appear, which may be easily fought off, while giant walking machines can assault the player at higher wanted levels. Number 64. So while the game is large and expansive, the universe is not empty or devoid of things to do. Not by a long shot. Unlike in real life where planets can be light years apart from each other, No Man's Sky shortens the distance so that the player can feel a sense of adventure and not spend hours in the void of space. Murray said it was a conscious decision to bring the planets closer together to make the game more appealing. Number 65. According to Murray, the thing that makes No Man's Sky so great is just how advanced and precise the generation system really is. Essentially, No Man's Sky's super formula needs to be so precise that each pixel has to generate without knowing the surrounding elements. Number 66. No Man's Sky is truly a universe. Each planet is generated by algorithms, and if that planet has life, those life forms are generated based on the conditions of the planet. In other words, Hello Games has let the universe create itself based off a very meaningful generation. Mind blown. Number 67. But they also made their own periodic table of elements. Instead of oxygen, the atmosphere could be made of oxygen or high glace. Number 68. Featured in the game are NPCs belonging to different races and factions. Players attempting to communicate with these NPCs will bring up a dialogue tree interface filled with gibberish. This is because the game will require players to learn the aliens' language. This leaves players wildly guessing what the aliens are saying at the start, but grow to learn simple word-for-word translations. Number 69. There's also various space bases where the player can engage in trading of resources and goods in a free market system. One such base will exist in every planetary system so that players will have the ability to buy fuel to make hyperspace jumps to other systems. Number 70. Just prior to the VGX showing, Murray had shown the title around to various publishers, and Sony expressed strong interest in having the title for the PS4. Murray stated that although Sony offered to provide financial support, he and Hello Games only wanted Sony's commitment to help market the game. Number 71. Sony's UK marketing director, Fergal Gara, has stated that Sony is fully committed to supporting the title, treating the game as if it were from one of their first-party developers. Number 72. Hello Games prepared a 6-planet demonstration that would be used for E3 events and subsequently used to showcase the game for the media while the full version was in development. Number 73. During E3 2014, Hello Games announced that the game would be a timed exclusive for the PlayStation 4, with a later release on PC. However, as most of you now know, this timed exclusivity was dropped, and the plan was then to release the game on PS4 and PC simultaneously. However, a last-minute delay put the PC release 3 days after the PS4 release. So, I guess it's kind of a timed exclusive again? Number 74. Since its reveal, Hello Games have showcased the game to numerous members of the press and video game journalists. Many of these demonstrations have provided possible ideas for gameplay additions as feedback, such as adding land vehicles to explore planets, or allowing players to construct buildings on planets. Number 75. Not only has No Man's Sky made its own universe, developers have stated they're looking into supporting virtual reality hardware, but as of June 2016, there have been no concrete plans announced. Number 76. Murray has offered the potential to extend the game through DLC, though because of the procedural generation systems used, would likely be in the form of added features rather than new content. Number 77. 10 original works and 6 soundscapes composed by 65 Days of Static will be released as No Man's Sky, Music for an Infinite Universe. Number 78. In addition, IM8-Bit will release the No Man's Sky soundtrack on a 2-LP disc vinyl record set. Number 79. In the weeks leading up to the 2015 Paris Games Week, rumors about No Man's Sky's release date started circulating. There were those who believed that No Man's Sky would be released alongside Sony's press conference, but Murray and Sony denied those rumors. Instead, Sony used their press conference to announce the game's expected release date of June 2016 for the PlayStation 4. Number 80. In March 2016, Hello Games confirmed that No Man's Sky would be released on June 21, 2016. This was paired with the announcement that the PS4 version will also be available in both standard and limited edition retail releases. Number 81. About a month before this planned release, Sony and Hello Games announced that the game's release would be pushed back to August 2016, with Murray stating that the team needed a few extra weeks as some key moments needed extra polish to bring them up to their standard. Number 82. Hello Games opted not to present at E3 2016 so that they could devote more time on polishing the game. Murray noted that due to the structure of the game, we get one shot to make this game and we can't mess it up. Number 83. The release date in the UK was slated for August 12, while the rest of Europe would have received their copies 2 days earlier on August 10. The UK release date was later pushed up to August 10 as part of a new deal Sony arranged with retailers to allow simultaneous release in both regions. Number 84. The limited edition retail version will include an art book and a comic written by Dave Gimmons, James Swallow, and Angus McKee. Number 85. The New Yorker featured No Man's Sky in their 2015 New Yorker Festival as part of their inaugural Tech Fest event, highlighting topics on their intersection of culture and technology. Number 86. The debut of No Man's Sky at the 2013 VGX Awards was considered to be the best aspect of the awards presentation. Number 87. Its expanded coverage at E3 2014 was also met with similar praise, with several critics considering it to have stolen the show. Number 88. The title won the show's Best Original Game and Best Independent Game by a panel of game critics, as well as receiving the special commendation for Innovation title. Number 89. Many commentators have compared No Man's Sky to 2008's Spore by Maxis. Spore used procedural generation to construct new creatures and worlds, though the extent of this was scaled back during the course of production, and the resulting game was not as well received as anticipated. Number 90. Murray stated that he's aware that some critics are being cautious of their expectations of No Man's Sky due to how Spore promised similarly lofty goals and failed to provide the experience to players. Number 91. On April 26, 2016, IGN had a first look at how a 24-hour cycle would look like on a planet in No Man's Sky. This was shown through a time-lapse and was done to demonstrate the day and night cycles featured in the game. Number 92. Hello Games' Sean Murray states that it might take a player about 40 hours of game time to reach the center of the galaxy. That's if they didn't perform any side activities. However, Murray believes that players will play the game in a manner that suits them. Number 93. Since No Man's Sky is primarily a single-player game and the chance of meeting other players is very low, Sony will not require PS4 users to have PlayStation Plus to play the game online. Number 94. As part of promotion for the game, Hello Games held a concert at PlayStation Experience in Las Vegas. The concert featured the band 65 Days of Static, who was responsible for the music in No Man's Sky. Number 95. Following the news of the game's delay from June to August 2016, Murray, along with Kotaku writer Jason Schreier, who first reported on the release date being pushed back, received a number of death threats. Murray publicly responded to these death threats in good humor. Number 96. The situation was seen by other journalists as a growing issue between the pre-release hype created by marketing for video games and the excited nature of fans. Number 97. While on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Murray let Stephen Colbert name an animal during the demo to demonstrate how players can name animals if they are the first to discover them. Colbert named the creatures he discovered the Colbison and the Mole Bear. Colbert even got his own planet, Colbert Prime. Number 98. While most demonstrations of No Man's Sky show alien life to be mostly dinosaur-like creatures, Murray promises that life forms on other planets will be as diverse as the planets themselves. He only wanted to show off the dinosaur or reptilian-like animals because the team felt like they would get the most response at E3. Number 99. No Man's Sky's influence is not just limited to the video game world. Scientists of different concentrations contacted Hello Games so that they may use the game as a tool to demonstrate things such as exploring star clusters and making science less boring and more interesting. Number 100. Murray has high hopes for No Man's Sky. He stated that he loves sci-fi and doesn't believe that game will burn the love out, so he hopes that No Man's Sky will be popular enough to where he can continue to work on the universe and make it better. Number 101. Reddit user Damien paid $1,300 to purchase an early copy of the game, 2 weeks early to be exact. He started posting up videos online but decided to take them down after feeling bad. This situation prompted Murray to plead with fans not to spoil themselves, as the team spent years filling No Man's Sky with secrets. Number 102. The gamer who bought the early copy of No Man's Sky has already reached the center of the galaxy. In the latest update, the gamer Damien revealed that after playing for 30 hours, he effectively reached the end of the game. But what about those countless hours exploring the galaxy? Don't be space scum, have some fun. Number 103. In an interview with Game Informer, Murray explained that while No Man's Sky is receiving a lot of praise and hype, the team had to do a lot more press for their previous game, Joe Danger. Back then, the team would have gone to every single show to promote Joe Danger. No Man's Sky is nothing like that. Number 104. On October 20th, 2015, Hello Games released a trailer for No Man's Sky titled I've Seen Things, that was narrated by Rutger Hauer, otherwise known as Roy Batty, from the 1982 film Blade Runner. Number 105. The official announcement trailer for No Man's Sky was released on December 8th, 2013, on Hello Games' YouTube channel. Number 106. Several online communities have already sprung up for the game. There's a No Man's Sky subreddit that has almost 72,000 subscribers. Number 107. One eager fan of the game created the website No Man's Sky Origins. This website is a community hub where players can share their discoveries while exploring the universe of No Man's Sky. Sounds pretty awesome. And those are 107 facts about No Man's Sky. I don't know if we could fit all 18 quintillion facts in one video, so if you have an interesting fact that you would like to share, or if you want us to do 107 facts about your favorite game, let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to check out some of our other 107 facts videos by clicking on the annotations or the links in the description. We have new videos dropping every week, so let us know what game you want us to cover next. And if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard where we help you game smarter.